Good morning, everybody. It is early on this Friday morning, and I know I posted something last night. If some of you saw it, that I had an amazing experience on my way home last night, and I'm not used to making these video blogs. Here, I want you to see something. See the beautiful deer? Hi, dear. Anyway. But I wanted to share this because this experience was kind of profound and amazing in my life, and it just was too beautiful not to share. So I was driving home from a rehearsal I had last night, and I was running late for multiple reasons that shouldn't have happened, and I kept just wanting to get home to see my kids, and just things kept stopping me from getting home. But I was almost home, and I heard something up ahead in the road, and when I got a little bit closer, I saw that a deer had just, I think, recently been hit by a car on the opposite side of the road, and it was just laying there, but it was still in the road, and I knew that it was a danger to other cars, and I didn't want to see it hit again, so I pulled a U-turn, and I pulled off to the side of the road, and I grabbed a plastic trash bag from the back of my car just to try and, you know, if it was messy or anything, to be able to pull it out of the road, and making sure there were no cars. I just prayed that nobody would come by before I could get it out of the road. And when I approached, its ear twitched. And I went, oh my goodness, it's still alive. And so I approached a little more carefully. I didn't want to get hurt. And so I looked it all over, and it wasn't moving at all, except for, blinking, breathing kind of heavily, and its ear twitching. And so I just talked to it, kind of carefully. Forgive me for crying. And so I grabbed it by its legs, and I pulled it out of the road. And I couldn't just leave it there to die alone, And so something in me just said, just stay with the deer. And so I pulled it off of the road, and no cars had come for a while. And so I just sat there, just petting this beautiful animal, and just talking to it, and just praying that God would end its suffering, because it was breathing pretty heavily. And but it wasn't moving. Its legs weren't moving at all. It was panting. And I just kept talking to it. And a car drove by, and its eyes got really wide, like it got really scared. And then I just started to pray that God would end its suffering, because it was really hard to see. And at one point it got really bad. It started to breathe really, really, really heavy, and I almost thought maybe I should help, because I didn't want it to suffer anymore. But I said, no, I'm just gonna be here. I'm just gonna just pet it and talk to it and pray and just be here. I know this might seem silly to some of you, because it's just a deer, but this is just, what happened. And all of a sudden it got real quiet, and its head rolled over, and to where its chin was laying on the cement. And I went, oh, finally, this is it. Its suffering is gonna be over. And a car finally on the opposite side of the road pulled up, and a lady asked me if everything was okay. And I said, I don't think it's gonna be okay. I said I didn't hit the deer, but but I found it in the road and I didn't want it hurt, so I pulled it out of the road. And the deer had become very quiet, so I stood up and I took a couple steps back towards my car. And you guys, I looked back at this deer and it leapt to its feet. It didn't just stand up, it leapt. And then it just ran off. And I mean, I know I yelped in surprise because the lady had driven off a little bit. She stopped and looked, and I was like, it's running. It got up, it's okay. And so I got back in my car and I followed it for a little bit, and it had a little bit of a limp. But this deer that I thought was dying was totally okay.